I wanted to talk to everybody today about putting. I get a lot of people who ask me how to be a better putter, and it's probably one of my stronger points. And so I thought maybe I'd do this video to let people know what I do and my method, and hopefully it would help change the way that you putt to where you're making more putts, longer putts, and be more consistent. So let's go ahead and get started and see if we can make you a better putter. Okay, the first thing I want to talk about is throwing them at the chains. A lot of players that I see, especially beginners, what they will do is they are so afraid of a comeback putt that they're afraid to throw it at the chains. So what they're doing is they're trying to just throw it right over the cage and into it, and what happens when they putt is they end up throwing it and it goes low and it hits the cage and drops. And I know a lot of players experience that, and the reason why is because they're so afraid if they miss the basket, they're going to end up way over there, and then they're afraid that their comeback putt is not going to go inside. Now they're looking at bogey or worse. Okay, so the first thing that I teach people, if you want to be a better putter, is don't be afraid of the chains. Don't be afraid to throw them at the chains. You have two types of putt. You have a push putt, which is basically just pushing the disc off of your hand with a little spin, and it goes into the chains and drops down. Then you also have what's called the spin putt. It's where you're putting a lot of spins per second on the disc and you are throwing it into the chains. I learned and I've found that when you're putting, having a spin putt is very beneficial because you're going to create more rotations, and it's going to stay in the air longer to make it towards that basket. So it's going to look something like this. If you're afraid to throw it at the basket, you're going to miss more putts than you're going to make. If you throw it and it does miss the basket, those are going to be far and few between, and you're going to have a better chance of hitting your comebacks, because most of the time you're at least going to hit the chains and it's going to drop right close to where it hit. Okay, so after you get in the habit of not putting just to the inside of the front of the cage, but trying to throw it into the chains, after you learn that and you get comfortable doing it, there are 5 steps that I use whenever I'm putting or when I'm teaching others how to putt. Some of these came from pros that I've talked to about how to be a better putter, and so I've come up with 5 steps that can make anybody a better putter, and if they practice these, they will certainly be more consistent with their putting. So the first 2 steps, I like to call them the CH. It is chain and chin. It's easy to remember because you're using the letters CH at the beginning of both of them. So the first one is chin, and what you want to do is you want to have your chin up. A lot of players, when they go out and they putt, their head is down, and so when they go to make the putt, the nose of their disc ends up being in a downward position. When that happens, you can be trying to make a putt and you nose it down, and it will drop before it gets to the chains, and it will hit the cage and drop every time almost. If you have the chin up, then most likely the nose of your plate is going to be up when you let go of it and release, which is going to allow it to kind of ride the air underneath it, which will keep it in the air much longer to ride to the chains. So the second step is chain. A lot of players, they look at this whole basket, and instead of looking at one chain link, they're looking at the whole basket. what I try to tell people when I'm teaching is, number one, don't look at a chain in the front. Always look at a chain in the very back of the basket. By doing that, you're going to throw it harder because you're trying to hit that specific chain. So if I'm aiming for this one, I'm standing over here, I'm going to throw it hard enough to try to make it back here. The chains should catch it and keep it from dropping early. So you're going to look at one chain link in the back. You're going to have your chin up. The next step is limit your movements, and you want to lunge forward. So you always want to be kicking off of your back foot, so your chin's up, you're lunging forward like this, and then you want to try to keep the disc flat. There are a lot of players who they hyzer putt. Nothing wrong with that. I've learned that even when you watch people on the pro tour, the players who can keep their disc flatter are the ones who are more consistent with their putts. So you want to try to keep that disc flat. If you're struggling with that, then don't try to make a 30-foot putt. Try to start with something close and try to keep it flat that way, and then back up as you make those, but try to keep the disc flat. So chin up, one chain, lunge forward, try to keep the disc flat, and then the last one is what a local pro taught me, and that is your breathing. Did you know that your body is more relaxed when you are breathing out than when you're breathing in? If you want to be more consistent with your putts, make sure that when you go to make the putt, you're breathing out before you make the putt. Your body will relax and you will be more loose when you try to make that putt. So if you do all 4 of those steps, or 5 of those steps, it should look something like this. Chin up, looking at a chain in the back. Don't be afraid to throw it at the chains. Missed that one. Four out of 5, not bad. I'll take it every time. I hope this video helps somebody. I hope you'll practice this. When I started integrating these steps into my putting, I started making more putts. I was making them more consistent, and I started winning more tournaments. So hopefully that helps somebody. Leave a comment below. Please like and subscribe. That's what helps my channel get the information out there. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day.